Hey guys, welcome to our podcast. This is the 6 Eye Review podcast, and this is our first one. So, welcome. Get comfortable. We're going to talk about some interesting things today. I'm here with Gio. Gio, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, my name's Gio. I will not be the voice. That sounds like a smooth jazz guy.
You got to keep it smooth, baby.
I see you.
Hey, so we're going to start talking about movie news today. It's pretty much, or not just movie news, but just topics about movies or movie franchises that we can't talk about on our YouTube channel. By the way, subscribe, 6 Eye Reviews, like, hit the notification bell. We appreciate that. But yeah, we're going to talk about, first, we're going to talk about the state of the DCEU, or DC Universe, because I don't even know if it's called the DCEU anymore.
No, I think they were like, let's not call it that. They didn't want to sound too much like Marvel.
I don't think so. Yeah, they want to keep things different with them. So, we'll talk a little about Joker because we saw the movie. Gio, did you want to?
Yeah. Watch our review on that one, of course, on YouTube, 6 Eye Reviews. But without giving any spoilers away of the movie, I don't want to talk about the movie.
Can we talk about spoilers here? Because it's not a review anymore. This is our podcast. We can probably preface.
Spoiler warning.
Well, let's do that. So we're figuring this out as we go. So we do apologize for that if we pause.
Yeah. So
I think we can. I think we can talk about it here. Because we can always, if they don't want a spoiler version, they can just go to our channel and.
You want to?
Yeah, let's.
But on our first episode, like our first podcast, like, hey, welcome here, spoilers.
This is all going on the channel.
Bye.
All right, so guys, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, spoilers ahead. We'll give you 5 seconds
to come back. You know what? Give us. Can you forward podcast? Can you like?
I guess when
skip forward?
We know, we'll put it in the description. Like if you want to skip the spoilers.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay. So yeah, with Joker, this is
he dies at the end.
No, he doesn't. He's not. And if you're here, you've probably seen it already. But he doesn't die at the end. He actually ends up becoming Joker. And that was probably the best part of the movie. You know, obviously his build-up was pretty cool, but him actually being Joker was pretty cool, too. That was probably the best part.
Yeah, it really was. Just this Joker, though, like this Joker, right? From this universe or this world, I liked him. I like where he was going, and I would want to continue to see this Joker.
Yeah.
I just know that he's way too old.
And the thing is that
to fight Batman,
and that's the thing. And Joaquin Phoenix also doesn't do franchise movies. He's not going to be in the MCU. That's why he didn't do Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know, he was supposed to be Doctor Strange and not Benedict Cumberbatch. But he doesn't do franchises, so this is going to be a one and done kind of situation.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is good, and I like the story. And honestly, it'd be kind of weird to see Batman in this universe. It would be like another Dark Knight, like Christopher Nolan kind of situation. And I honestly, for me personally, I was talking to Gio about this earlier, and you guys will listening now to my thoughts on this. I want to see a more comic book accurate Batman in Gotham City, and something like similar to the Arkham games, if you guys have played them.
Yeah,
I want something like that. I don't want Bane to be some random guy. I want Bane to be, where he's from, with this, Spanish accent, all that. It'd be huge. I'm pretty sure he's like from Mexico or something. I want that. I want Penguin. I want Joker that looks like Joker. Jared Leto, I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
No,
I didn't like that. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I hated him as Joker.
There was some moments that in Suicide Squad where I was like, okay, when he was shooting from the helicopter, saving Harley Quinn, I was like, that's pretty cool. That felt like Joker. But when he was in the club, he put the hand over his face.
Yeah,
you guys know what I'm talking about. That part was so cheesy and so stupid. I hated it.
Yeah, no, I hate it. I don't even know what you're talking about. Even the shooting the gun, anybody can shoot a gun out of that helicopter.
But it's just the way, like his mannerisms.
No,
like,
get out of here with that.
All right. I try to save you, Jared Leto. Gio's a very harsh
horrible. I hate that Joker. I love this Joker. Heath Ledger's
Joker. Rest in peace.
His Joker was amazing.
But it's still not even comic book accurate Joker. He's more like anarchy Joker.
Yep.
But I want to see like Mark Hamill's version. Obviously, Mark Hamill can't do it because he's too old. But I want to see like that version, Arkham version, the comic book version, in the movie. I want to see that because I feel like that version has the best of all.
Yeah.
The movies that we're seeing, all the interpretations that we're seeing, I feel like that's like a mix of all those great interpretations into one, and that's classic Joker. And I want to see classic Batman, not Ben Affleck Batman that kills. I want to see Batman who doesn't kill, and his reasoning as to why he doesn't. I want to see eventually, hopefully, Dick Grayson, like a Nightwing, in this universe. I want to see, the Bat family develop. I want to see all that because I love Batman. He's a favorite character.
So what you want to see is DC, Warner Brothers, be Marvel. Create a universe, create separate movies that all slightly hint towards each other, but they develop themselves, and then when it comes to big time Avengers type movies, they're all there.
Yeah, the thing is that they let me calm down. DC has the better characters. You know what? Honestly, in my opinion, like the only like great characters are the characters that I grew up in the 90s. So I grew up with Spider-Man, X-Men. Mm-hmm. You never heard about the Avengers growing up. They weren't even that popular.
No.
When they made Iron Man and Thor, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, we knew those characters." No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Most of you did not know those characters.
The mashup teams.
Nobody cared about those characters. Those are B-list characters, and nobody cared about Thor. All of them. It was Spider-Man, the X-Men, maybe the Fantastic Four. That's about it.
Yeah,
those were like the main characters that we all wanted to see. But we grew up watching. So I think DC has the better characters. You have the Flash, you have Superman. You see their symbols, and you know who they are
immediately who they are.
Immediately know who they are.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
see Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's been an icon for women and for men as well. For just comic book characters. She's an icon.
Yeah,
you know these characters. You know Aquaman. You know Green Lantern. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know who the Avengers were, so I'm saying, I don't understand how Warner Brothers and DC can't just get it together and just make a great universe. Yeah. They can do it in the comics, but they can't do it in movies for some reason.
This is an old conversation. This is a conversation many people have had before, where the comparison between Marvel and DC, as far as, Disney and Warner Brothers making their movies, it is a conversation that everyone knows and everyone has. Marvel did it right? Yeah. They came out, they did it right. DC said, "Oh, let me cash in this. Let me say, hey,
no plan.
Superhero movies, just make it. They will come." Which they are making the money, and that's what kind of stinks. And that's the whole point why we created our channel in the first place, because they're making the money. The reviews can be 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. They don't care as long as they're making their money.
Yeah.
And so that's the unfortunate thing. So their movies are crap. The movies are crap. Wonder Woman is an exception.
Shazam was pretty good. I like Shazam.
Shazam was surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
But pretty much, majority of their movies are sad. They're not well thought out. They're just...
you could tell. It's just bad.
Here, let's throw money at it. Let's digitally remove Henry Cavill's mustache.
That was terrible. When I first saw Justice League, when I saw Henry Cavill's mouth, it just looked weird. It didn't look right.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, this is going to be a bad movie.
Yeah, from the beginning. It was like the opening scene. So you have that rushing, gung-ho, and on top of that, they've been choking their directors. That's why they can't land a director to be in a movie. They really can't. They went through how many directors to be in... Ben Affleck was supposed to be the director. Mm-hmm. And he sat down because he was like, there's too much control. They wanted...
Well, you know what? I agree to a certain extent, but I also disagree to a certain extent. Because I feel like WB's meddling messed up Justice League because they didn't let Zack Snyder do what he wanted to do. Even though I don't really fully agree with his way of doing things, but at least let him make his movie.
Yeah.
But you also got to think, with Marvel, Kevin Feige controls everything.
Yeah.
These directors for Marvel, they're not doing whatever they want. They have guidelines that they have to follow.
Right.
To, Kevin Feige. I think it's more planning. They don't have a plan at DC. They don't have a plan at Warner Brothers. They're just reacting to whatever it is that Marvel does.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. They don't have a plan. It's obvious they don't have a plan. But the Marvel directors You're not being announcing this director is this one, and then they fall through. This director now, and they fall through. How many different directors did Suicide Squad get until
they've had their issues? No, Flash. The Flash has had like 1 million directors, and it still hasn't been made.
Exactly.
That's the issue. Yeah.
You look at Marvel; they have one director, and it's like boom.
Who was it? Was it for Black Panther? I think it was supposed to be. What's her name? So a female black director. I think she was supposed to make Black Panther, and then they ended up going Ryan Coogler.
Right.
Directed now.
Right.
So they've had, like, I think, if I'm not mistaken as well, Ant-Man also had a director originally. And then it got switched. They've had their situations.
They're one-offs.
Not as bad as DC.
Every DC movie.
I think Flash had like 5 directors, and they all were like, psych, we're not doing this.
Yeah. And on top of that, I mean, look at Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman came out, was amazing.
Awesome, yeah.
Made its money. Mm-hmm. Then
they released Justice League. Crap.
Well, which was trash. But for director's sake, they didn't offer they were like, we're going to make Wonder Woman 2. They didn't even talk to the director at first. She didn't even know she was going to direct 2. She was like, I hope they give it to us. Right, then they come to her and say, hey, yeah. And she's like, well, you're not going to pay me the same measly whatever you paid me.
Yeah.
Like, she had to negotiate her terms to get hired. Movie, yeah. It's like, what are you doing? Like, she's the only one who did a good job. Like,
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
Why aren't you capitalizing on this?
Yeah, like pay your good performers, or pay your good directors, pay the people that are bringing you money.
Yeah. So DC has just disappointed. And again, this is a conversation everyone's had, and everyone could go back and forth on how you compare Marvel to DC, and it's like, you're not supposed to, you're favoring Marvel. No, like you said, DC has, in my opinion as well, the better characters.
I do.
The more symbolic, the more recognizable, more iconic characters. And yet, they're coming out with these type of movies. The Joker is...
that's a good one-off kind of movie. I consider the movie like, in the comics, like Elseworld stories. And it's just a different world, a different Earth. This is Earth, let's say Earth 300, right? In the multiverse. And this is just a different interpretation. That's how I see these different interpretations of Joker. But like, you have Superman, you have, like I said, Batman, you have Wonder Woman, you have all these great characters, and they're coming out movies like Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... I saw the trailer. Let's talk about the trailer. You want to talk about it, Gio?
Well, Birds of Prey is slated to release February this coming year, 2020. It's right now in post-production, according to Collider. I mean, you got Margot Robbie, which...
Yeah, she is Harley Quinn.
I love her. Yeah.
Perfect casting.
That was perfect casting. And then you have the band of misfits. Because in reality, I don't. The trailer didn't make me want to care for this.
And that's the thing. The thing is, you have to introduce these characters. Like, if you have never read the comics, because it's not just for us, the ones that have read the comics or at least know about the comics or know about these characters. You have to make it accessible to anybody. Mm. So if you guys have seen the trailer, if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. You can see it right now if you want to. Pause this podcast and do that. But if you see the trailer, this is pretty much, instead of it being Birds of Prey, this is Harley Quinn and her friends. Yeah. Or Harley Quinn and friends on their adventure. This is not a Birds of Prey movie. It's I don't know who is okaying these things. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like, what are you doing?
It's like, why do they keep making these mistakes? Why do they keep, hopefully, honestly, hopefully I'm wrong and this movie's a hit and it's great and it's a success, because I want nothing but success for the DCEU.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense to me. This feels like a Suicide Squad spinoff.
Which I think it is.
Suicide Squad wasn't even that good. I hated it.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. The stories didn't...
The story was crap,
It
Joker was bad, Yeah. The characters were forgettable,
Yeah. The only two that stood out are the only two you would expect.
Deadshot and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Will Smith and Margot Robbie.
Yep.
Those are the only two. So we got that spin-off coming off.
Yeah.
And then just a couple months later, June 5th, we got Wonder Woman 1984.
Finally, yeah.
I want to see this one. I'm scared because and the reason you got Wonder Woman coming out with Gal Gadot. but you already know, and this is kind of like the misfortune of knowing what's happening outside of the movie, outside of that world you try to get immersed in. Ben Affleck's not Batman. Henry Cavill's not Superman. But you still have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman.
You know, the funny thing, too, is that this movie takes place before Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, it's another, like...
Yeah, it's 1984, because it takes place in 1984.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Wonder Woman, she's current. Why are they still in the Stone Ages?
That's what I'm saying. So, she already appeared in Batman vs. Superman, which was present day at the time the movie came out. And this is going back in time. Okay,
and then just to have another post-credit scene to say, oh, we're going to mash up?
No, and that's the thing. When you bring in, Robert Pattinson as Batman, it's going to be obviously it's a different actor, it's a different, it's not the same Batman that you had. The continuity is all ruined at this point.
Yeah, it's a younger... I mean, the only people who got away with the continuity being that jacked up was X-Men. I don't know why, but they were the only ones who were able to get away with that.
You did it so many times that you're just like, all right, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, so you got the Batman coming out.
Yeah.
Supposedly June of 2021. And the reason why I say supposedly is because all these movies keep getting pushed back. I mean, I expected The Flash years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Justice League came out, 2017, 2016?
Yeah.
It's about 2020, and we're still waiting on The Flash?
Yeah, exactly. They don't even have a release date for The Flash.
They don't. It's crazy.
But, so supposedly, they got Robert Pattinson, or Twilight Edward, right?
Yep.
He's gonna be Batman. So whatever Wonder Woman's gonna do, if they're gonna try to continue to copy Marvel, because at this point that's what they're doing. I'm sorry, get mad. Yeah. They're copying Marvel, and they're failing at it. So they're
miserably.
They're just horrible. So I'd prefer DC to just be like, or Warner Brothers. We keep saying DC, and we're blaming DC. It's not DC's fault.
It's Warner Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers. They're the ones who own the property. Warner Brothers, make these solo videos like you just did the Joker. Make it a solo video. You don't a solo film. You don't need to make this universe. And I know I said earlier I would love for them to make the universe like Marvel, but since they can't, give it another decade or two.
I don't know. It's just
make standalone films.
Yeah, they could. They could do that. But I just don't want that. Like I want to see a Batman, interact with Superman and interact with different DC characters that we never even thought would be on TV.
Yeah, what can happen is Dark Universe, not from the comics, but Dark Universe. The one with this guy from Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise. Uh-huh. That they were going to make.
Oh my goodness!
The Mummy. You remember that?
Yeah, they're going to Dracula, the Mummy, all the monster movies. The
monster universe, the monster. It was
Oh man, it was terrible.
When they tried bringing the Dark Universe.
Yeah.
Failed. Out the gate.
Yeah, but they only made the Mummy.
The Mummy. That was it, and they didn't do as well as they wanted to.
And that was it. That killed the whole universe.
Which is better to kill it in the beginning.
Yeah, and they just keep making bad movies.
Their mistake was they announced it, though. It's kind of like Avatar right now. Oh, we're going to make 5 extra movies. Like, don't announce that crap. Don't do it.
Just make your movies.
Make your movie.
Yeah.
Because when The Hulk came out, they didn't announce it. Or I don't even think they even planned for The Hulk. Well, they did, because he came out in it. But Hulk came out. Iron Man came out. That's when they actually announced
really
it.
Started to think about
because they were like, oh, because Samuel L. Jackson came, and and even still, if nothing came up from Iron Man and they never did anything, we would have never been the wiser. We wouldn't be like, oh, they're making a whole universe. No,
you would have never known because it's never happened before.
Yeah, we've seen post-credit scenes before. Yeah. Marvel's not the first to do it. They're the first to popularize it. Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't have. It wouldn't matter. So just not saying anything.
But before we continue, how do you feel about that Batman movie?
Concerned with every DC movie.
Yeah. You don't have that peace of mind that you do with Marvel. Marvel, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
You know it's going to be a solid movie every single time. Even if it's not like the best movie of all time or like the greatest movie of all time, it's solid. It's enjoyable.
Yeah,
it's always between solid and great. That's what you're gonna get with Marvel.
The worst you're gonna get is
solid.
Yeah,
solid movie.
Well, no, Thor: Dark World.
Yeah, but that was phase 2. That's like a whole lifetime ago.
We're gonna forgive it because it was so long ago.
Yeah, it was so long ago. Like I don't even expect that from them anymore. They made so many great movies that it's just that's a one-off, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. So after the Batman in 2021, we got, or supposedly, we're getting the Suicide Squad sequel. Prequel? Sequel.
It's a sequel because Harley Quinn's still in it, played by Margot Robbie.
That's true. You can't really have a prequel. That was dumb.
No, but it doesn't really make any sense if it's gonna be a sequel or a prequel. They doesn't really say, because remember, this guy's not in it either. Will Smith's not gonna be in it.
Yeah,
he's not gonna.
So they're gonna have to write off Deadshot, or not write him off, but like somehow get him out.
He's off the team.
They've announced the cast because they have a release date, August 6, 2021. So they've already announced the cast. We got Margot Robbie, obvious. Idris Elba, which nice.
Yeah, he's good.
Everybody else in between I don't care about, and then the only other big name is John Cena. I don't know who they're gonna play.
I don't know either.
But I don't know.
Listen, it's with James Gunn. He did, obviously, he's done all the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's dealt with an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
So I trust that he'll do a good job with this.
That's true.
And honestly, this is kind of like a test for him, like a challenge. I would think of it as a challenge for him, because you got to think, when he's working for Marvel, he's under the guidance of Kevin Feige. So let's see how he does here. I feel like in DC it's a little more loose right now, because there is really no plan. They don't have it planned out 5 years out like they do at Marvel. Yeah. So let's see how good he does, without the guidance of somebody that already has stuff planned out. Let's see how he does with this movie. I think this is going to be interesting, and I think it's going to be a true test to see how good of a director he is in terms of this type of world building and ensemble cast kind of directing. Even though he's done it with Guardians of the Galaxy, this is a new challenge for him.
Yeah. We'll see. It's still Warner Brothers DC.
Yep. We'll see.
Aquaman 2 at the end of 2022. I think that's going to have a Christmas release date. I know it says December 16th right now. I think that's a placeholder. They don't even have a director. They just have Jason Momoa and Amber Heard as of right now.
What's the story going to even be about?
I don't know. I liked it. I felt the CGI wasn't amazing. I know one of our first reviews were Aquaman, and I hadn't seen it yet. So if you look at our earlier videos on YouTube, you can find one of our first reviews. We trashed it. I enjoyed it. It just, the CGI was horrible. I hope they clean that up. I hope they spend more money on it. Because, come on, it's Jason Momoa.
I do give him some of a bit of a pass on this, because it's the first time that, I don't know if it's the first time, but there's not many movies that are done underwater in this way.
In that way, yeah.
This is something new, extreme. So it's like like with anything, over time it gets perfected. So I feel like the second movie will have better CGI. At least I hope I do.
Hopefully,
I hope it does.
And then we go into the truly uncharted territories. Black Adam.
The Rock, he was announced as Black Adam 26 years ago.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen him in a movie yet.
We haven't seen him. He hasn't popped up, but supposedly Black Adam's coming on. And supposedly The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's the only one casted. I don't know. They're going to keep making Jumanji movies, so...
We'll see. They're remaking the second one's coming out soon.
Yeah. The only thing I liked, and I don't know if anybody knows this, is The Trench. I would hope that it's a show. I don't know.
They're actually making a movie about The Trench?
Yeah. So
see, that's what I'm saying. You have such a huge DC universe. Why are you making a movie about The Trench? You have so many characters that you don't have a Flash movie. You're gonna make a movie about The Trench first.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna quote the Collider. On
page, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote their page word for word here. You can find us at collider.com. No, we're not sponsored by them or anything like that, or
affiliated at all.
We're not affiliated with collider.com. So they reported on their page. It says based on the immense success of Aquaman and given director James Wan's horror proclivities, Warner Brother has put into development a spin-off called The Trench. The idea is to further explore the Trench location from the hit DC movie and create a film with a lower budget than Aquaman, but more of a horror tone. That scares me. Lower budget. If you're still going to be underwater, you need a big budget. If not, it's going to look even worse.
Remember, the trench is really dark, so you can always hide CGI in the dark, like bad CGI. You can. It's easier to do it.
It's true.
It's a dark environment.
But I would like to see what they do there. Honestly, it's a horror film.
Yeah, I would like to see them do that after like a successful run of Justice League, and
After you get your life together.
Yeah, after they get stuff together, you can start doing stuff like this. Not when you're all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. Ezra Miller in The Flash. They don't have a date.
Yeah, how do you feel about Ezra Miller's The Flash?
So I liked. Let me word this correctly.
Choose your words carefully, sir.
I enjoyed him. I did enjoy. He made me laugh.
He did.
He was a kid, which I liked. I would have preferred Barry Allen from the show. Honestly,
really?
Yeah, man, I love that guy.
Actor.
I love him as the Flash. I love him. CW. I think they finished already. With the seasons?
Season 6 is coming up now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, so they need to learn when to stop?
They're finishing out...
Arrow finished, yeah.
Well, this is the last season of Arrow.
This is the last season.
It's like 10 episodes.
When you have that much... when you're talking about shows and you have like 22 episodes or whatever, you have those filler episodes which stink. You have those, all of a sudden, musicals. And, like just the dumb stuff that show up on long shows that they're like, all right, we planned for 3 years, but we got the money for 7 years, so let's run 7 seasons. Let's stretch this out. But I like him. I like the actor.
I don't think he's that good of an actor, honestly. I don't think he's that good of an actor. On top of that, you have to explain why he has this cheap behind suit in the DCEU when it's a movie budget. He's not going to all of a sudden have a new suit and it looks awesome. When he had his leather suit.
Well, no, I'm not saying bring the show Flash into the.
You want to have him the actor.
I want him the actor. I liked him as Barry Allen.
But he's playing the same character, so wouldn't it be confusing to the audience?
Absolutely.
So only people that watch the show and like care or know about continuity would understand. Okay, this is a different universe. It's the same actor, it's a different universe, but yeah, it would be confusing to some.
But I still like him.
I enjoyed Ezra Miller. For me, he doesn't feel like Barry Allen, honestly.
No, he doesn't.
Because he's more jokey. He feels younger. But I still think he'll do a good job. I'm wondering who's going to be Reverse Flash if they ever use him in a film. I hope they do. I don't see why they wouldn't. But I'm really excited to see what he can do with the movie. I just want to see a Flash movie, period. I think that'd be interesting. Time travel obviously would take place, and the Speed Force, all of that. So I want to see where that goes, but they just need to make this movie and find a director because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, or stop announcing it. Just stop talking. If you stop saying this movie's coming out, then when you push back production,
it's just I don't even know why. Like, why is it so hard? I don't understand why it's so hard. Like, I feel like us doing this podcast, we can just come up with an idea to create a pretty cool DCEU where everything intertwines, everything connects. Obviously, script and all that's a little more, tedious and complex, but just having an overall idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Kevin Feige is. He's not writing scripts and, doing a bunch of stuff. He just has an overall plan. Okay. Yeah. With every movie, you guys tell your story. Well, this is a story that the overall
is going to touch back to this.
That we want to tell.
And even when they have their solo thing, you just put a post-credit scene and you're fine.
Yeah.
Look at Black Panther.
All of them, yeah.
There was no Infinity Stone in Black Panther. There was no overshadowing like, oh, I feel the whole Marvel Universe is going to be... No, that was its own masterpiece.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie. I love Black Panther. I love that character. So... I don't know why they can't do that with DC. I don't know why it's so hard. I don't know why they just can't do it right. So
we're bashing on DC quite a bit. So we're just gonna stop with.
Yeah, let's change the topic. We'll change the tone.
Well, let me just mention this last movie, Batgirl. There's nothing about it. They just prematurely.
They announced Joss Whedon 3 years ago?
Yeah.
To make that movie?
Yep.
And it never got made?
Yeah. He will.
I don't think that's going to get made, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening.
I would hope they do, because, like...
We haven't even seen Batman yet. This new Batman. And he's going to be younger Batman.
Yeah.
And did you see who they casted as Commissioner Gordon for that Batman movie? Getting back to the...
No.
I can't remember his name. I'll have to find that right now. I apologize, guys. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, because it's just... But I want to see... I want to see Batgirl. I would like to see... But, like, Batgirl by herself. Which is weird, because you need Batman to even be able to have Batgirl. But I would like to see that, where she just, you know, this awesome chick just, like, does her thing, you know, and has some sort of conflict internally, mentally, whatever, but just be awesome. And I see Batgirl. Batgirl is one of my favorite female, you know, like, if I'm just going to say only the females, Batgirl is one of my tops as far as heroes are concerned.
Do you like the fact that she was, you know, shot? No spoiler if you guys don't know that story. She was shot in the back and she just turned to Oracle. She gets paralyzed.
I didn't like. I love how smart she is. So I do appreciate her as Oracle. Because she becomes Batman's, like, freaking reliance. Like, Batman becomes really dependent on Oracle, and I do like that.
She, you know, like, remember in Spider-Man? Homecoming and Far From Home too, where he's like the guy in the chair. Well, she's the guy in the chair.
Yeah, she's the guy in the chair for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like that, because it gives it gives Alfred the break and whatever, and it just shows how smart she is, even against Bruce Wayne. She's a beast.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it takes away, because it's like, I like to see her out in action.
Yeah, the physical side of her, obviously.
I like to see her there. So,
anyways, I would say, I would say that would be a good idea to have a Batgirl movie, but I don't think that's happening. And if it does, it's not anytime soon. They have to establish the whole Batman universe, which they haven't done yet. You know, they have to establish that first, and then we can start thinking about supporting characters and all that. Remember, they announced, this is off topic, but they announced the Nightwing movie a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
that never happened. It's not happening.
I don't see why they announce things.
Because they...
I know you want to build the hype, but be sure.
That's the thing. It's because they have so many good characters, you know? Like, you announce a Nightwing movie, everybody's losing their mind. You announce a Flash movie, everybody's losing their mind. Like, oh man, these are great. But it's because these characters are so iconic and recognizable. But they have no plan. They have no idea of where to go with these movies, which I still don't understand why. But anyways, let's... I was also talking about who Gordon was. Jeffrey Wright. He will be playing Commissioner Gordon. He's like in Westworld. And,
okay. Yeah.
So I wonder who
I like
Batgirl.
him.
Yeah, he's good. So I wonder who will play Batgirl. If they have him as Commissioner Gordon, that'd be interesting to see. But yeah. Now let's bash something else. We're not always bash. It's just today we feel like bashing.
It's a ranting type of Friday.
It's a ranting type of Friday. It's late. Right now at this time it's like 12:47 at night, so we're tired and we feel like bashing. But let's talk about Star Wars.
Oh my god,
this is very controversial.
Let's get people mad. First of all, huge. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, the movies.
Yeah.
I cannot say I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, only because the only relation I have to Star Wars is the movies and the games.
Yeah.
As far as comics are concerned, as far as the books are concerned, as far as anything like that, I don't know and I don't dive in. With that being said, the movies, they were... The original trilogy is my preference.
Of course.
It is my preference. I saw those first, then the prequels. Everybody who saw the prequels first hate the original, because the original is slow. Rewatching it now is kind of boring.
And it's just,
there's no action.
They're old. They're 40 years old. So
yeah, it's really outdated. So, however,
they're still classics though.
Yeah, for sure. You have these characters. You have Luke. You have Leia. You have Han. You have Chewie. You absolutely love. You know their personalities. And then you have these newer movies that some may feel are just disrespectful to the classics.
They are. This is even more of a slap in the face than the prequels were. I like there's things that are redeemable about the prequels. You know, obviously the lightsaber fights and there's a lot of moments with like Obi-Wan is one of the big characters that I guess I wouldn't say universally, but most people enjoy. That's why they're making the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah,
if you guys know on Disney Plus. But there's a couple of good things about the prequels, even if you hate the prequels for whatever reason. But with these new sequels, the bad thing is that they brought all these characters back, the original characters, right? And they brought them all in separate movies. There hasn't been a movie where all three of the original cast are together in one movie. You get what I'm saying? Like at the same time where they actually get to interact and we get to, see where these characters are and they get to interact with each other 40 plus years later. That's not going to happen because, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Force Awakens, Han Solo gets killed by Kylo Ren.
Yeah. And
then, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. She actually passed away in real life. And so they can't bring her character back, for episode 9, or they can, but it's not going to be to a point where they're going to interact. And on top of that, Luke, spoiler alert for Last Jedi, he died in episode 8.
Hey, spoiler alert for Star Wars.
Star Wars. It's just, there's not going to be a movie where they're all alive and they're interacting. They could have just done that on The Force Awakens. That's why, I enjoyed The Force Awakens for what it was, but it could have been a lot better. And honestly, the excuse of them, we made this movie to remind everybody, what the originals were and kind of take off from there. I didn't like that explanation. I feel like every movie should be its own movie. You don't need to rehash previous movies to make a good movie or to start off, a trilogy. Make your own movies. And you could have made a movie where these three characters interact with each other and we get to have that nostalgia. We catch up with these characters. All right, we had enough of them. We have these new characters coming in, and now let's enjoy the new characters.
Yep.
But no, they're sprinkling them in these new movies, but then they're killing them off and they're using them in ways that are not true to those characters.
And this is an example of a director having too much freedom. Because I truly feel, and I don't know the politics of it, but the director of The Last Jedi was just like, forget all you fans, forget everybody, I'm going to do what I want. I don't care what the previous movie did. I mean, from the beginning, 3CPO doesn't have his red arm.
Oh, yeah.
From the beginning. And that's the moment I knew and understood that everything in this movie, when he said and he promised, this isn't going to be like anything anybody expects, I think he was doing that on purpose.
Yeah. Clearly.
Directors have a big say. They don't, they can't change everything, but they do have a big say on what is written for the script. And you got, seconds later, 3CPO makes a joke, or he doesn't make a joke, but he's like, I bet you're wondering what happened to my arm. Guess what? We're never going to find out what happened to his arm, because 6 seconds later, the second movie starts, The Last Jedi starts, and his arms are gold again. Okay. You have everything set up. You have the villain, which I think you're okay with him being killed the way he was killed. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care.
I wasn't, because I'm like, this is the big baddie, and he's killed like nothing. Mm-hmm. Which is another, now J.J. Abrams has to come back for the third movie and basically undo or now pivot to make everything make sense.
And I agree. It's a lot for him to do in one movie. I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know how he's going to be able to explain everything and make everything satisfying.
Yeah. Ray's parents are said to be just nobodies,
and I don't care about that either. And there were themes in The Last Jedi that I enjoyed. The fact that you could be anybody and be a Jedi, and it doesn't matter who you're born from or
your lineage.
None of that matters. And that's usually how Jedi or Sith they can be anybody until. Anakin came along. Nobody was like, "Oh, I'm from a family of Jedi." No, it's just random people or Jedis, mm-hmm. and they're found out as kids. The Jedi Academy, found out who they were, and they brought them to the academy and trained them. That's just how it was. That's how it should be, and I'm okay with that. So that doesn't bother me. Even if Rey's parents are nobodies, like Kylo said to her, if they're just drunk people and they traded her for money for drinking, I don't care. That's fine. My issue is with Rey. It's just there's no development in her character. Her character has not grown in 2 movies. Yeah, she's the same character. In this movie, she's going to be super powerful again. The person that could have trained her has died. He'll probably come back as a Force ghost, but how is she going to do lightsaber combat? How is she going to learn how to do like normal things? Okay, because she can fight with a staff, so she knows how to use the Force. Yeah. Because if you don't know, Force users, Sith, Jedi, they use the Force to fight when they fight with their lightsabers. They can control their speed. They can speed up. They can slow down using the Force. So she can learn all that stuff without actually physically fighting anybody. Yeah. That can also tap into the Force.
And they showed her training, but it didn't seem like a long training.
Dude, like in the movie, she was supposed to have 3 lessons. She only had 2.
That's true.
that for me was enough. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. And somehow she knows how to use the Force. I forgave her ability to use the Force in the first one. I'm like, all right, you know what? The movie needed it. Kylo Ren was hurt. She didn't really do anything too special with the Force. Fine, but she needs to get trained. She can't just know how to do things just because she's Rey. Yeah. She needs to be trained. Just like everything in life, you need to practice. You need to practice, and then master your skill or your craft. You're not just born knowing how to do things.
And Han Solo said it best in the first movie. Yeah, when he was like, how did you expect us to get out of here? I thought we'd use the Force. It's like, that's not how the Force works.
Yeah, so true.
You don't just Force.
It's not, you can't just use it all willy-nilly. You have to, train. Everybody's trained. Even the great Jedi, the great Sith, they all trained. Yeah. But Rey is somehow the exception, and she's never trained, yet she has amazing abilities with the Force. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
And the fact that, I don't know, just with Kylo, their whole dynamic, Kylo should have been able to kill her. And I know that he was holding back because he thought he could turn her or whatever.
Which movie? In the second one?
In when they were fighting in the snow.
That's the first one. He got shot by that crossbow blaster.
Listen.
That's what I'm saying. I can let that one pass because he was injured, okay? Fine. But she still hasn't gotten trained.
And then what about this one?
Oh, Captain Phasma. Oh my goodness, that's been a big waste of time. That's just to sell toys, honestly. Yeah. If she's been in the movie, collectively, 3 minutes.
I know, and she looks awesome.
Yeah, and then when she comes out to fight Finn.
Yeah.
I guess you're supposed to care, but no, you don't, because there's no setup. There's no build-up.
Yeah, there was
There's nothing.
No, and she gave up the codes to whatever.
Yeah, she's a traitor.
She's
she didn't even get tortured for a little bit before.
No.
Nothing. She's like, all right, well, yeah, you can have the codes.
She's like, fine, you're holding a gun to my head, so
have the codes.
There you go.
To our secret weapon that we took
you're the head of security for the whole empire or whatever they're called.
The First Order.
The First Order, which that doesn't make sense to me either. The actual idea of the First Order. The Empire was big. It was collectively. I'm sorry, but Luke Skywalker and friends, rebels, they're terrorists. They're actual. If you look at it, the economy, all the worlds are, all the different worlds are all paying taxes to the Empire. The Empire are the police, right? And you have a band of rebels attacking these huge stations.
The government,
the government, and the government, of course, is going to say, "Hey, these are terrorists." And I know that's a strong word, but in reality, you're attacking a government and you're blowing up ships.
They're revolutionaries. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you have that going on, right? And then they're destroyed twice. And now, 40 years later, you have a random group called the First Order. They're not the Empire.
No, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that have to be explained in this movie in Episode 9. You have to explain where the First Order came from. You have to explain the Knights of Ren. You have to explain who Rey's parents are. You have to explain... Now they put in in the trailer, I don't know if you guys have seen it. Now it looks like Rey's, turning to the dark side. Okay, you have to explain that. You have to explain how she got trained, how long it took. Where does that we're going with this story? Because if you look at Last Jedi, this is why me personally, I hate this movie. Nothing really happened. Nothing happened. Like, it didn't push the story forward. Nothing happened. It literally, it was the slowest chase, like car chase or just chase period in the history of any movie, because it was just a boring chase. They're just in the middle of space floating, waiting until the other guy runs out of gas, the resistance. And nothing really happened in this movie significant that pushed the story forward. No. So really, there's we're just finishing out the story that we have left. Kylo Ren's going to be the villain. Now they're bringing in Palpatine because they need a bad guy because he killed Snoke. And then the movie's called Rise of Skywalker. So now, by the title alone, it's almost like a spoiler. Kylo Ren's probably going to turn back to the light side. Yeah. So.
And you know what? And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this very carefully. I want everyone to hear, because I already hear. Let me stop hitting the mic. I already hear the typing and the commenters saying the graphic novels. You haven't read the books. They explain everything. I should not have to go to a different medium to understand a story or find a completed story. I loved the cartoon series.
Rebels?
No, not Rebels. The one before that, with Anakin Skywalker. The one I was telling you. Clone Wars. The actual cartoon series Clone Wars is amazing because there's so much details, and I love it. They do fix some of the stuff that we see happen in the prequels. However, you shouldn't have to watch 6 seasons of a cartoon show that's made for 10-year-olds to understand these movies, to get that satisfaction that, this is full circle. It really is full circle. He really did bring balance to the dark side and the light. You shouldn't have to do that. And I shouldn't have to read books. I shouldn't have to spend extra money to try to understand something that is supposed to be explained in 3 movies. You have 6 hours.
At least 6 hours, yeah. That's the thing. The thing is that the books and the shows and the spin-off series, they should only enhance the movies, not explain the movies for you.
Yeah.
You should be able to watch the movie for what it is and understand where the story is and to understand where these characters are coming from, what their motivations are, where they're going, who they are, without needing any extra medium, like Gio was saying. No books or anything else to understand where these characters are or who they are. So that's the issue with Star Wars. Honestly, the story, it's like DC and Warner Brothers. They don't have a plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is something else that I want to talk about. I don't know if you noticed. Bob Iger, he's the CEO of Disney. He's releasing a book, and he's talking about his past 15 years. I guess he's spent 15 years with Disney. But he's talking about one of his things he's talking about was his deal with George Lucas.
Yeah.
And how when George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, how he offered them 3 stories for the next 3 movies that they're going to make, 7, 8, and 9. Disney bought those stories off of George Lucas. And they did mention to George Lucas, okay, hey, we don't have to use these stories, but obviously we want them. And we could potentially use something from these stories or use these stories completely. So with that understanding, he sold the stories to Disney. But they bought, when they bought the stories or whatever, they didn't use anything from it. And they just made their own stories. So he felt betrayed. Not just because they didn't use the stories, but because just everything they've done with these characters has been a betrayal to what George Lucas intended them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just goes to show, and you look at the even episode 9 right now, you could tell there's no plan because you look at Force Awakens. Force Awakens was a callback to the original trilogy. Fine. Episode 8, Last Jedi. It says clearly in the trailer and in the movie, forget the past. Let the past die. That's like the whole point of the movie. Let the past die. Let's move forward. And then episode 9, let's go right back to the past. Let's bring in Palpatine. Even Kylo Ren reconstructed his helmet again, even after he destroyed it in Last Jedi. It's just there's no plan. They just go. It's like a ping pong ball. They're going back and forth, and they have no direction. So I'm hoping this movie's good because I want to see a good Star Wars movie. I want to be excited. I want to leave the movie theater satisfied. But honestly, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep my expectations to a minimum. I'm not going to expect too much because I'm the type of person that I get too hyped and then I get disappointed. So I'm trying to keep my expectations level, and that way I don't get too excited and end up being disappointed with this movie. But we'll see. We'll see where the story goes.
Yeah, I just feel like the first movie, the layout was there, right? The fundamentals, you're drawing a picture, and the fundamentals, the rudimentary shapes that you need to draw a dragon are drawn. Then the second movie came, and he decided to draw a caterpillar. Mm-hmm. And now the third movie's coming, and it's like, well, how do I make this caterpillar look like the dragon from the beginning? You can't. So it's...
That's a good comparison.
Thank you. You know, I try with my little metaphors. So I mean, well, it's going to be interesting. We're of course going to keep up with it. We're going to watch the movies. You know, we're going to review them. We're going to give our 2 cents. But Star Wars is something I am passionate about when it comes to the films. Mm-hmm. I've watched the shows, but again, I haven't read the books because I don't think it's necessary.
It's not.
I'm not going to sit there and read the books. You know, just
you should if you want to, but it shouldn't be necessary to enjoy the movies. Exactly.
Like it's just no. Like no, just no.
Well, I think we, you know, like I agree with Gio saying it completely. We shouldn't have to reach out to other mediums to enjoy what we're seeing on screen. So, I just want to say, guys, I think that's all for tonight. I hope you enjoy this podcast. We're going to obviously be doing a lot more. If you guys have any ideas or any things that you want us to talk about in more depth, we could do it via this podcast. Because obviously nobody wants to watch a 50-minute YouTube video. Yeah. But we could do these podcasts, and you can listen to them on the road, and you can do, you know, listen to them wherever you want.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of these things. So, if there are things that you want us to talk about, or things that you want us to address, or if you want to know our opinions on things, please let us know. We'll definitely talk about it.
Yeah.
I find, you know, Gio and I find this stuff very interesting.
Yeah.
And also Joe will be coming back soon. We do miss him on the channel, so
yeah.
We appreciate it, guys. Thank you for listening.
All right. So we got the Instagram, 6 Eye Reviews. We got the YouTube channel. We got the Twitter. So
Facebook page, right?
Facebook page coming soon.
Okay.
Coming soon. So, I mean, there it is. Again, like Gerry said, appreciate you guys listening. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to talk about. Because talking about movies, that's what we do.
That's our passion.
Yeah. So, all right. You guys have a good morning, a good day, and if I don't see you, a good night.